That's twisted.
This is Mark McNease in New Jersey with my co-host,
Rick Rose in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And you're listening to The Twist. Welcome to The Twist, everybody, America's only clothing optional podcast. This is Mark on this end, and who's on the other end here, Rick? I gave it away. Go ahead.
You gave it away. It's Rick in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we're actually, let's be honest, this is not live, but it's live to podcast. In other words, any errors we make are included, but we're recording this at a later hour, so we might be a little more witty, a little more with it. For me, like that extra hour of sleep makes a big difference, Mark.
Oh, see, I was going to go the other way. I was going to say, I might be less energetic, but I'm never less energetic.
No, never. But it is interesting how you and I are very different people. Like we've often said, folks, that when Mark's waking up in the morning, I'm going to sleep, and we usually communicate within that half-hour window from 3 to 3:30 in the morning.
Well, because I didn't think you even slept. I mean, I don't know anybody else who is going to respond to something I do at 3:30 in the morning. It's weird. But why am I awake at 3:30 in the morning? Because life is stressful. That's why.
Life is stressful. And let me make life a little easier before we go on with the show. I just want to tell you, I just got my Amazon confirmation. You know how our phones are set up with alerts to learn about Trump's next atrocity and what you order on Amazon being delivered by the second. It tells you updates. Well, my little poopery is on the way. Have you ever used poopery?
Oh, the P-O-O poopery?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we use both poopery, P-O-T poopery, with the leaves and roses and stuff. And are you talking about the spray, the stuff you spray in the bathroom?
No, this is awesome. They're drops, and you drop them in your turlet, as my grandpa used to call it. And like when you have guests and stuff, or when you're traveling in a hotel and having to share a room, it's better than lighting a match. Okay. Yeah. You might want to look into the item. It's on Amazon.
Well, yeah, we used to have stuff. It was almost like a gag item, but it was called poopery, and it was.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Now, I want to, just real quickly, I want to give a big shout out to Jim Parsons. He got married on Saturday, but I don't want to forget this. He married his, he's the Big Bang Theory guy.
Oh, yeah, 14 years they were together.
Yeah, Todd Spiewak. I guess it's Spiewak. But anyways, congratulations to them before we start the show.
I know he's listening, so yeah. Happy,
of course he is.
Happy wedding day, guys. Yeah.
I mean, we don't hang out much anymore, but we were at one point.
If you said what you said to him, if you said to me what you said to him, I wouldn't be talking much either, Mark. It wasn't very nice.
I don't know. What did I say?
Nice. Oh, well, he's still harboring his resentment.
But what did I say?
Well, we'll talk about that off air.
That's weird. All right. We have sponsors, and by the way, if anybody wants to get a shout out, you could get a little sponsor shout out. It's very easy to do. Just email us at podcast@thetwistpodcast.com, and we'll get back to you, because I'd love to. I love promoting people. It's one of the things I've liked so much about LGBTSR.com is that I just love promoting other writers and artists and just people. It's my thing, so let us promote you folks, not a problem. The Twist is brought to you this month by Lovers and Loners, the stunning new short story collection from Jean Ryan. In Ryan Stories, we meet a richly varied group of women struggling for footholds in a shifting world. From a widow who has dinner with a man she fears is a killer, to another running errands on the last day of her life. Jean Ryan offers what Publishers Weekly, reviewing her previous collection's survival skills, compared to, quote, a scientist's observant eye. The Los Angeles Book Review said Ryan brings to the short story what Mary Oliver does to poetry, which, by the way, is an enormous compliment. I would love to have that blurb. Writing at its finest. Find it now on Amazon in paperback and ebook. There you go.
Ebook. We're also sponsored by angelonmyshoulder.org. For those of you infected or affected with cancer, there is an angel on your shoulder. This foundation was started in memory of my father, actually, the very first Richard Rose. I'm Richard Rose II, for those of you that may not know, by my mother. She worked in the school system 19 years up in Eagle River, Wisconsin. And upon my father's death, tragic death, to lung cancer, she started a foundation called angelonmyshoulder.org. My brother, sister, and I, and sister-in-law have all served on the board. It's a wonderful organization, folks. You can find it on Facebook or go online, check it out. And there's many ways you can get involved, but many ways you can get support as well. Great organization, Mark.
Now, he's not one of my headlines, but is Trump done? Are we looking at the end of this administration or this president?
took my morning walk this morning since we had a delay in starting the show, and I think it's going to be 2 years. Though I mean, even like with what happened with Nixon, it was a 2-year impeachment process. I think he was going to be impeached and then resigned. But you get what I'm saying. It's a long process, Mark. I think he's done. I think it was done from day one, but I still think it's going to take Democratic control to get him out. So I think it's
really.
I really think we're with him for 2 years. What do you think? You think it might happen sooner than that? Huh?
I don't know. I read a column today by Ross Duhat, who's a conservative columnist in the New York Times. And he is really suggesting that they do a 25th Amendment thing where the cabinet recommends to Congress that he be removed as unfit rather than impeach him because he's unstable. He really is not fit for the office, and he never was. And like, why in the hell did people vote for this man? And I'm not saying that out of hatred. I'm saying it because he makes the point that there's something, he's just got so many personality disorders, and he's like a child. David Brooks wrote a column about the same thing. We have a child president who can't really comprehend the office that he holds. And so Duhat was saying they really should do a 25th Amendment thing, even though it would be painful and difficult to get him out rather than impeach him, because he doesn't even know that he's committed a crime. You know what I mean? This is the level we're talking about here. That he doesn't really understand. It's so funny because for 3 months and before then, all the progressives and other folks that don't like him were talking about what a sort of like an evil supervillain autocrat he was, and how he had this master plan for taking over he doesn't have a master plan. Brooks said his mind is like 6 fireflies in a jar, just going off all the time. And it's true. It's true. He's not a supervillain. He doesn't have the cognitive capacity for that. He's a child in a man's body who is now our president. So it's tragic, but we'll see what happens.
Well, and I think it's interesting, the whole thing this week, of course, is everything relating back to the beginning days of the Russian thing. When Trump was elected, and we immediately talked about his ties to Russia and Putin, and it's, of course, the bane of Saturday Night Live's existence, the Putin character and the Trump character. But I was talking to my friend Jody on our walk this morning. Mark, I really believe, I said, what do you think it is with the Russian thing? And it's back to these are two men that are both mentally unfit. These are two men that are maniacal. These are two men that are egocentric. And I really believe this is they said, hey, let's rule the world. I really firmly believe, guys, and it's scary. Because what other reason would there be?
Well, it's interesting because, the money, Russian mob money. But I was going to say the difference between the two to me is that Putin really is a supervillain. He really is an extremely smart, capable, autocratic, ruthless man. Trump is just an idiot with lots and lots of money and a personality disorder.
Yeah, and that is equal to idiot. So I mean, that is equal to villain to me. Yeah, what he's doing is vilifying people. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it a full term, but
bye-bye.
Ready for the red lines?
Let's hit it, Mark.
The Twist brings you the weekly red lines that can be found nowhere else, by the way.
And the headlines with a twist, folks. Everything we do is a little twisted.
Get twisted with us. Were we gonna plug that later? Get twisted. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, I know what it was. We were gonna tell everybody we're growing slowly and we love it. Now it's one thing to make up a green room, which we have a lot of fun with, but our numbers are around the 100 plus a week, and that's great. I'm really happy with that. But let's get to 200. So folks, and then we'll get to 3 and 4 and 5. So if you're digging us, because we know you are, tell people, say, there's this podcast. It's called The Twist Podcast with Mark and Rick. And you can dig us in the shower. You can dig us at the breakfast table. It doesn't matter. Wherever you go, we're there. So spread the word. Thank you.
And and get involved. Send us messages. Tell us what you want to hear. If you want to be a guest on our show,
we got a great Facebook page. Oh yeah, we're bringing guests back this summer. We don't know yet when exactly or who will be our first fabulous Twisted guest, but we're bringing them back. I mean, and I can't wait because you and I love to interview people and talk to them and chat them up.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to send off Ken and Courtney, who are listeners to our show. They're on their way to Paris today, Mark. We've talked about Ken on the show, and we've gotten emails from him. Two very dear friends of mine, and they're off to Paris to get married this Saturday, 11 o'clock our time. I got to hook them up with our friend Robert Bradford. I just thought of that. But anyway, they're headed over there, and Courtney is so damn sweet. She said, yeah, the plane ride over is going to give me a chance to catch up on the Twist podcast.
Excellent.
So hi, guys.
That's what we want to hear.
Yes.
Chelsea Manning, this we also want to hear, depending on your perspective. Chelsea Manning is to remain on active duty, unpaid after prison release, which I believe was today. I think I saw something today that she got out today.
Yeah, she's out this morning. She got out this morning. Yeah.
The U.S. Army has confirmed that Manning will remain on active duty, but unpaid after her release. She'll be on, it's called excess leave after she's released. And it has to do with, her conviction is under appellate review. But anyways, yeah, no, that's good. I mean, I don't know. I've always had mixed feelings about her because I think she's a traitor, but also, I have some sympathy. So, your turn.
Headline: This brand will give you new clothes if your size changes. It's genius, they say. Sizes change all the time. There's this clothing company, Mark. It's a plus-size retailer called Universal Standard. It launched its new Universal Fit Liberty late last month. It's a program that you buy your clothes. You may pay a little more. I think a pair of pants are like $100, and a blouse, as my grandma used to call them, are $60. But during the lifetime of owning that, you can change it because they said, we know the women wearing these sizes go up and down in size all the time as you're trying to, work on your weight loss. And yeah, you can exchange it for up to 1 year to a bigger size or a smaller size. Check it out, Universal Standard.
I like it.
Cool.
Arrested Development star comes out as bisexual. We this is our year of the bi.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever watch The Middle? I love The Middle. But anyways, it's always Sue the
Well,
daughter.
The Middle is the bi, yeah.
Well, I was going to say Sue's always talking about the year of Sue, or she used to back when she was in high school. So no, bisexual is like coming out, and one of the biggest stars of Arrested Development came out as bisexual. Her name is Alia Shawtalk, who plays. Oh my gosh, my eyes are bad. Maybe Funky on the Netflix show, but anyways, good for her. I noticed though, and then the next day I saw some guy came out. I was going to say it's always women doing the bisexual come out. I'm not crazy. It's mostly women who do that, and I don't know. I guess it's because there's gender stuff going on there, but there are bisexual men, and more should come out.
Come out. Speaking of that, Spicer. I'm not suggesting he's bisexual. But there was a cute skit on Saturday Night Live this week where Spicer and Trump made out. I don't know if you saw that. But
would you do Spicer?
No. Oh, God, now I can't go forward with the rest of this podcast. You can't plant that seed in my head. Anyway, someone made a Sean Spicer lawn ornament to hide among your bushes.
Oh, that's
everyone
so
needs it.
I like that.
It is funny, because of course they said he was there when Comey was fired and hiding behind the bushes. They actually did a little skit on Saturday Night Live with that. But someone made these things. You can buy it. You can put it in your yard. Google it if you really want one. I wouldn't want anything with him in my yard, but it's funny.
It is, and I got to say, I've seen a couple of the Melissa McCarthy Spicer.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, but I thought the one Saturday sucked. I did
too. I thought Saturday Night Live sucked this week. It was May Sweeps. It was Melissa. Yeah, I agree with you. That was horrible.
They blew it. Speaking of bisexuals, Germany's far.
Hey, Mark, you need to edit that out of the program.
No.
Go ahead.
They might think I'm talking about Germany's far right candidate. She's a lesbian mother, and is she the new voice? The article is Germany's far right candidate, lesbian mother, the new voice of the alt-right in Germany? Oh, I'm sorry, I really mangled that. But anyways, they lost big time in France with that hideous, heinous woman, Marine Le Pen. But in Germany, there's somebody who's taken on Angela Merkel, and it's a cardigan-wearing former investment banker who is also a lesbian with 2 sons. So, but she's like, in the U.S. they call them homocons. She's like a gay conservative, like really far-right conservative. So we'll see what happens. Is this progress? I don't know. I don't think so. But everybody has I do believe everybody is entitled to their whoever they want to be. So, I mean, I like them, and I certainly won't vote for them.
Interesting. Oreo wants to pay you $500,000 to come up with its new flavor. They came out with a new one, like birthday confetti or something, but now they put out a contest. Even the runners-up will get cash. It's a big contest. You just write. You can Google search this again, guys. You can Google search anything. But yeah, so you submit your favorite kind of idea for a Oreo cookie, and you could win money. Here's one. Someone suggested Firework Oreo, limited edition with popping candy in the middle of it.
I thought you were going to say hot sauce.
I like that. Tabasco Oreo?
Yeah, why not? They fry them.
Let's go.
They fry Oreos.
Let's do it, Mark. Let's win some cash.
Do you want to be creative on purpose? Schedule it. There was an article in the New York Times But it's content. Everybody's got to have content. But anyways, this guy's writing about what I already have been doing for 35 years, which is to schedule creative time, and rather than be the struggling artist who creates whenever, wherever. It helps I call it discipline. I mean, it's the same thing to me. I've been getting up at, now it's 6, thank God. But in writing in the mornings for many, many, many years, because I always had a 9 to 5. I don't have that now, but I still write in the mornings, and that's, anyways, his whole crux is that it's rather than sitting around waiting for inspiration or thinking you're blocked, schedule your creative activity, whatever that is, and do that every day. Something will happen. It's like sitting on the John, if you just sit there at the same time every day, something's going to happen.
Just got to looking. Yeah, that prize is $500,000 for the Oreo. Here's one: pineapple upside down cake. Someone else submitted golden
Twisted.
buttered popcorn.
We got to do a twisted.
We got to do an avocado toast one. I mean, I just saw someone submitted that. Yeah, we got to twist it up, Mark. The
avocado
twisted
toast.
Oreo.
That's 18. By the way, Trump restaurant in D.C. at the hotel charges $18 for avocado toast.
That's fucked up. And I will tell you, oh my God, I just swore. But
okay.
You're right. We got to do a twisted Oreo because, we got to do something. We can take this off into the green room after the show. But you twist the Oreo to eat them. You know how they do that when they did the double stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
No, but
so
I'm there.
Okay. Human Ken doll to have plastic surgery on his eyeballs despite the risk of going blind. Rodrigo Alves, 33, has already spent, I think that they say, 397,000 pounds on more than 150 different body-changing operations and procedures, from six-pack implants to Botox fillers, liposuction, etc. Now he's going under the knife in New Delhi to get his eyes changed literally from brown to icy gray. So he doesn't have to wear these contacts he's been wearing for 20 years to do that. That is weird.
That is weird. I got 4 more. I don't know what you got.
Keep going. I like it.
Okay, how Trump gets his fake news. Speaking of our president, this one was kind of like, well, it's not scary because nothing with him is surprising. It really isn't. If he does anything that surprises you, you have not woken fully up. But his aides slip like news into his reading material, whatever that is, because he doesn't read. He reads like a paragraph. If it's longer than a paragraph, he won't stick with it. So they stick shit into his news things to get him. To get reactions out of him, like, okay, I'm going to read this. White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. By the way, don't ever tell me that black people come up with weird names when we have this guy named Reince Priebus. I call him Prance Rebus because it's easier to say.
Easier.
But he warned his senior staff meeting for people to stop secretly slipping things into Trump's daily reading. I guess KT McFarland, a deputy national secretary advisor, gave Trump a printout of 2 Time magazine covers. One was supposedly from the 1970s and warned of coming ice age. The other was from 2008 about surviving global warming. Anyways, the 1970s one was fake. It's been going around for years. It was total fake. So people, that's how they slip these things into him, and sometimes that's how he reacts with his tweets. He's reacting to something somebody stuck into his daily reading. It's crazy.
That's crazy. A real functional banana phone is coming soon.
I guess we should say that's
twisted. It's twisted. That's twisted. Yes, the banana phone is back. If you remember, there was a classic 1994 hit song by Rafi called Banana Phone. Well, now they're making a banana phone. You can actually pre-order it. It's a campaign for a Bluetooth-enabled banana phone. It's currently underway on Indiegogo, but you can go ahead and pre-order one for $40, guys. The phone will be likely available in September of this year.
Is it a smartphone or a phone, a landline?
Yeah, no, it's a smartphone. Access to Siri, 10 hours of talk time. I'm getting one. I like it.
I like it. I like the whole idea.
Banana phone.
I like bananas. American Gods, a show that I don't watch, but you may have heard that they just aired TV's most explicit gay sex scenes. It's on Starz, the Starz channel, which I also don't watch. But anyways, it's been called by various critics, the show American Gods, the most important show on TV, and a show that couldn't be more timely. And by the Daily Beast's Melissa Leon, a celebration of immigrants in the face of Trumpism. So anyways, they had apparently Sunday night's episode featured the most graphic gay sex scene there has ever been on television. And it happened to be between 2 men who are Muslim. I didn't see it, but obviously I read about it.
Wow. I wonder if it'll be on YouTube.
I hope so. Soft
That's
porn.
really interesting. Speaking of soft porn, this man down in Florida, well, the headline reads this. I don't know if you heard about it, Mark, since you're into banana and all that. It says, man asks to show his penis to jury to prove girlfriend choked to death
Right, I saw
oral
that.
sex.
Wow.
That is crazy. Yeah, so this guy is charged, guys, down in Fort Lauderdale or somewhere, with killing his girlfriend in the bedroom. Well, he says, no. She actually was performing oral sex and she choked on my penis. And the judge down there, Richard Henry Patterson, is considering the request. It's probably happened by now. This story was from last week, but I just I didn't read it for shock value. It honestly is interesting to think about that. Could that be brought in?
It sounds like it could be jury tampering. or jury intimidation, one or the other. So there's a theory that Trump fired Comey because he's taller than him.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I don't think that's true anymore because now we know why he fired him. But this was like a few days ago. It was in wherever I read it. Kathleen Parker.
Crazy.
Oh, she's Washington Post. Yeah, because Comey, I didn't know the guy was 6'8". Can you imagine? You know what I always...
Oh, my God, I did not know that. That's interesting.
And you know what where my head always goes when somebody's that tall?
Keep going. Move on.
Okay, so he's really... He's 6'8". And so, like, she wrote a column saying that Trump fired him because he was taller than he was.
That's crazy. It's kind of funny. I mean, that's
twisted. It's that twisted.
Hey, I always like to bring up these YouTube videos that people can go and watch. So each week, one of my Redlines guys is really a video line. So go check it out. There's a video out there of a man leaping onto 1,000 mouse traps. It's very painful to watch.
I saw that.
They say.
Wow.
Yeah. They're called the slow-mo guys. So if you look them up, it's slow-mo, M-O guys. They're British guys named Gavin Free and Daniel Grucci. They throw themselves onto many things, but this last week was 1,000 mouse traps on a trampoline. It's very cool, guys, because they all go off at one time. It's pretty cool. Just saying.
I got one more, then we're going to do the biggies. Unless you have a couple, but I got one more. The labels, this one hits home. It's because of me, who I am. The labels said organic, but these massive imports of corn and soybeans weren't. A shipment of 36 million pounds of soybeans sailed late last year from Ukraine to Turkey to California, and along the way it underwent a remarkable transformation. It went from being ordinary soybeans to organic soybeans. I don't buy organic for two reasons. One, for this reason, I don't believe it half the time, and the other is that it's too expensive. How are you going to get like low income people to eat healthy when all of your organic shit is twice as expensive? So I don't buy it. We get our eggs now from our neighbor who has chickens, so we know we know that these chickens are quote free range because they live like down the road from us. But the organic broccoli and crap, no, I'm not doing it. I know there's reasons to, but I don't do it.
But I'll bring it back to the banana, Mark. Really, if you're going to do organic, they do say with bananas, you have to eat organic bananas. And I won't get into all the specifics, but really, bananas, organic, that's the only thing I eat organic.
Because people may have been using them for other things?
No, it has something to do with the spray to make them, like they spray them with something to ripen them. So I've got two more, and I'm going to combine them. One is, of course, new South Korean president in play, but he's not getting the attention his bodyguard is. President Moon Jae-in's bodyguard might need his own bodyguard. This guy is super sexy, super handsome. His name is Choi Young-jae. He's blowing up social media, people snapping pictures of him. He looks like a supermodel from Korea. He's really good looking, striking. But men and women and bisexual folks who are men and women, anybody, just know that this man is married with 2 children. But you can go sneak a peek of them. Yeah, you just got to know that. And then lastly, I want to point out a new dinosaur was discovered. This is pretty cool. Toronto scientists discovered a new dinosaur that resembles a particular villain from Ghostbusters. The Royal Ontario Museum has acquired a new species of the dinosaur known as Ankylosaur. It's a horned club-tailed species with an uncanny resemblance to Zool, one of the monstrous villains from Ghostbusters. You can find pictures of it online. But that's pretty cool. New dinosaur out there, Mark.
It is cool. I love new dinosaurs. Now, no, honestly, I do. I remember when I was a kid, they had like this. It wasn't an easy bake oven, but it was like tiny little plastic squares, and when you heated them, they turned into dinosaurs. Do you remember that? Yeah,
I do. They were like shrinky dinks, weren't they?
Yeah, I miss it. Well, I got a shrinky dink, but
only when you're in water.
No, it's an age thing.
Oh my God.
So we're on to the big stories now. You've got a big one and some final stuff, right? So you go first, and then I get mine, and then you do the final and a quote.
Yeah, my big story is when is it going to end? I had some friends over. Ken and Courtney were actually over last night as we bid them adieu on their trip. And we're talking about when is it going to end? I saw a story as we were looking for some red lines, and the story about Delta replay, and I sent it to you, Mark, wanting to replace human check-in agents with robot-like kiosks. There, it's this whole face recognition thing is in play. And this isn't just like they're testing it in some super center. They're actually brought these kiosks into play already in, their home base is Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, which is like mid-America. And the kiosk
I've been there.
Will be, yeah, I know, many times, haven't you? I think you flew through there.
Back when I had a friend who wasn't.
When you had a friend there, oh, and you were going on that road.
Go ahead.
Bastard. It allows passengers to print their own bag tags, check luggage like we do now, but it also allows them to load it onto a conveyor belt. So the whole idea is this kiosk thing, face recognition. They really contend with Delta Airlines that they're really working to have no human beings, maybe one just kind of monitoring them, the face recognition characters. And you've seen it in casinos about 5 years ago. I remember Donna and Lisa and I were at a casino down at Harrah's down in New Orleans, and they have virtual reality card dealers. I'm sure you've seen it, card dealers playing 21. And we brought it up in conversation.
I don't trust it, but go ahead.
I like it. And I'll tell you what, my friend Seth, who's 25, was chiming in on this whole subject last night. And he said, I like it because you don't get attitude. They're always nice. When you have the human factor in play, you get attitude. Then my friend Jody, who's 65, 40 years later, is like, I can't stand it because I told her the story. I went into the bank. Capital One here has kind of replaced all tellers with these iPads and things. Has that happened in New York City too, Mark?
No, but I rarely go into banks. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to prevent people from going in. So I go in with this deposit money because I did the Dancing with the Stars thing last week and had a lot of cash from people that bought tickets and stuff. She goes, do you know how to use an ATM? I was like, bitch, yes, I know how to use an ATM, but see this pile of cash and all these checks? I don't want to deal with them spitting back out at me because, there's errors with that. You stick them in. Is it going to be the right amount? Now it counts it out and shows you there's $5, $10 bills. You all know what I'm talking about.
Yes. And
so she throws a slip at me. Now she's trying to be nice because she's trained by the company to try to convert us all to using technology. It's not her doing. She's just grateful to have a job and she's just doing the corporate speak.
But she has no problem getting rid of other people's jobs, replacing them with robots.
That's a good point, and maybe that's why I was a little pissed at her. So then she throws a deposit slip at me, Mark, and she says, "I'll fill this out." I'm like, in the old days, people would fill this out for me, and I'd stand there and have a nice conversation about the weather or what's going on in the city or whatever. And she goes, "What's your account number?" I said, "That's why I gave you my ATM card because you can look on my account using that card." She goes, "Do you have our app?" I mean, it didn't end, Mark. She's like, "Do you have our app downloaded on your phone?" I'm thinking, that's a personal question. That's almost like asking me what my penis size is, really.
Right.
I mean, that's personal.
Shrinky-dink.
Well, shrinky-dink. Does she really need to know what app I have on my phone or not, or what I use it for? And I said, well, yes, I do. She goes, well, I would like to show you how to use it to find out your account number. I'm like, okay.
Look it up. You got a computer there.
Exactly. But of course, they're trying to train us. So I look it up and she says, you press the little I number. Now there's your routing number. And I was kind of glad because if I'm in the, signing up for a gym membership or something, it's right in front of me. But I mean, when is it going to end, guys? I mean, really? So, and one last comment, then Courtney chimed in. She goes, I was calling AT&T to get a plan for being in Paris for 2 weeks, a phone plan. And they're like, ma'am, have you looked on our website? All the options are on there, right? I mean, it just doesn't end. And Courtney's like, well, actually, I'm getting married and I want to talk to someone about this to make sure I'm making the right choice. And then the person on the other end that still has a job was very kind and talked her through it. And, they were excited to have that conversation I used to have with bank tellers, Yeah. But when does it end, Mark? It really does concern me.
It ends when there are no jobs left. I guess, and that's my reaction to this topic is that, our current president was elected because people are, the coal mining jobs are all gone. We've talked about this before. There's only like 5,000 of them left, right? Nobody gives a crap that bank tellers are all being put out of jobs and being replaced with robots. They don't care that the retail people, like me, we're all being replaced by robotic shit. And so fuck them. I mean, I don't know. It's if you're going to complain about the United States losing jobs, then complain. Be concerned about everybody's jobs, and don't say it's great. Don't tell me you voted for Trump because he's going to bring jobs back, and then you go down and you patronize some fucking bank or whatever that just fired all their tellers so to make your life easier and faster. It's bullshit.
Well, and that's true. No, I want to point that out. I mean, this morning, one of the stories was 1,400 Ford executives being laid off as they replace those jobs. And
Well,
you're
good.
right.
Executives, get rid of them.
There's a little dichotomy here. You're 100%. Yeah, no, I agree. And I might be wrong in saying they were executives, but I believe they were higher end. But you are right. It's like bring America back and make it great again, or whatever that fucking phrase is. I won't say verbatim because I think it's stupid. Versus what we're doing. So then stop it all, Trump. Fuck you all. I'm over it.
Make Parmesan cheese great again. Okay.
That's my topic.
You ready for mine? Because it's fiery. I'm fired up. This has been going on for several days. Now, you and I are pageant people. I support pageants. I was a judge at Miss Quincy with Frank, and you got us there. It was and I was so impressed with these young women going in doing pageants, because a lot of people mock them and make fun of them, but I think they serve a good purpose. And you see these really nice, upstanding young women trying to get, well, I don't know if they're upstanding behind out of the spotlight, but anyways, you know where I'm going. I like pageants. But our new Miss USA, who was from Washington, D.C., I'm missing a page there, but anyways, she was asked a question before she was crowned, whether she thought health care, which we equate with health insurance. We always call it health care, but it's health insurance. That's what it really comes down to. It's because in the United States, you don't have one without the other, whether it's Medicaid or Medicare, whatever it is. You don't have health care without health insurance. So I'm just pointing that out because I'm constantly seeing it called health care when it's really health insurance. But she believes that health care is a privilege and not a right. And she said, I can't believe I lost her front page. But anyway, she said that she's employed by the government and oh, here it is. I'm sorry. She said, I'm definitely going to say it's a privilege. As a government employee, and by the way, they're saying, oh, she's a scientist. I mean, give me a fucking break. She's a chemist or whatever the hell she is, but she's also a fucking moron. As a government employee, I'm granted health care. And I see firsthand that, for one, to have health care, you need to have jobs. So therefore, we need to continue to cultivate this environment so that we're given the opportunity to have health care as well as jobs for all Americans worldwide. I hope it wasn't as mangled as it sounded coming out of her. But anyways, I don't pick on Trump voters. I don't call them stupid. But she was immediately hailed by the right-wing media, the Breitbart, the alt-right, all those people, for saying that health care was a privilege, not a right. Two things. First of all, if you take that to its logical conclusion, which most people don't, she's basically saying anyone with employer-provided health insurance is privileged. I kind of liked her slipping that in. I don't think she meant to. And the other is that she's oblivious to the fact that millions of us, me included, I mean tens and tens of millions of Americans, have jobs that don't provide health insurance. And I'm not complaining about that. I like my job. I'm very happy doing what I do. But there are a lot, and it's not just people working for corporations and companies that don't have health insurance as part of their jobs. Artists, entertainers, performers, writers, all kinds of people who work very hard are not provided health insurance through their jobs. So fuck this woman. I thought it would just, and at first I wrote about it on Facebook, then I deleted it, and I didn't want to get upset about it. But the more I thought about it, the more it became my big topic. I really resent the fact that those of us who work in lower paying jobs that don't provide health insurance, but we work every goddamn bit as hard as the rest of them. If you're sitting in a cubicle, I did it for 30 years. If you're sitting in an office cubicle and you're making 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, sitting on your fat fucking ass, and you think that you are somehow, superior to somebody working at the drugstore that you go to, and they don't have health insurance, you're fucked up. And I have to say this, I'm tired of it. And I see it all the time in our society, how people who, it's like it's their fault. It's like they're blamed for it. And we're all supposed to aspire to be executive assistants. And if you're not climbing the corporate ladder, you're a loser. Anyways, that's my big topic. It really,
No, and there's a difference. The program we really like is Miss America, and that we judge for and get involved in. And I mean, a Miss America person could have said something stupid like this too, but you're right. They refer to her as a nuclear chemist, and she was on Fox and Friends this morning, I think, or yesterday morning.
Oh my God.
No, this morning actually she was on, and she still defended her comments, but then she tried to clarify them. And I love it. She's like, well, I don't look at things as feminism. I look at them as equalism. I mean, she's just one of those people. I'm sure she's the kind of person I would have either, number one, avoid at a party or go get in her face and have some fun with, right?
She's an airhead who can't think more than 2 inches deep, like a lot of them. And like I said before, I don't call Trump people stupid. I don't like that. It's an easy slur to hurl at people. But it doesn't take that much intelligence to think these things through. And for me, it's not partisan. I'm not saying that health insurance or health care is a right. I'm not saying that, but I do think that it should be accessible to absolutely every American. And the thing is, we don't have single payer. So if you make $1 billion, great. You get great shit all your life. If you're making $12 an hour, $10 an hour, and you have no health insurance, you should be able to buy affordable health insurance. That's where I stand with this.
I agree. And her story is just a catalyst to the discussion. I agree with you because she's saying, I'm not taking my healthcare for granted. That's why I said it's a privilege. And then she says everyone has the right to. That's the beautiful thing about our country, Mark, is everyone can have different opinions and speak their minds.
She also doesn't know what the hell she's talking. It's not a privilege.
We're over
it's not a privilege. It's an employee benefit. It's a benefit that company provides you. They don't have to. I mean, she's a government employee. I'd love to see her lose her fucking health insurance because does she admit the fact that the taxpayers, if she's a government employee, we're paying for her health care? Hello?
And what I want to know is why Miss New Jersey only got first runner up when she should have won. Okay,
sucked. Move on.
Take that title away from her right now. Rip that sash off of her. Pull that crown off. Take the jewels off. Yeah. Oh God, you're gonna go crazy with this one. Okay, my final thoughts. Soft, because right now it just popped up breaking news. Like I said, we get alerts about everything, including our poopery. This is similar to it. House Democrats hold news conference on Trump-Russia intel sharing reports. But I also saw, I think the House Republicans are having a news conference too. I don't know. Something's going on. Something's shaking today, Mark.
I hope so. I hope he's done.
You may be right.
And after these things that I've read, I don't hate him. I mean, I never hated him in the first place. But I do think he's like completely unfit for the job of the president of the United States.
That's it.
We got to get him out of there. And then we'll deal with Pence. We'll kick
I'm not
his
worried
ass
about Pence.
now, but we'll kick because those are the real power behind it, anyways. Those are the people passing all this shit.
Well, and Pence might not
Trump.
be clear of this either because
read.
Apparently he's done some shit too with this Russian thing. But anyway,
I hope so. Get rid of his ass.
So my final thoughts are on a softer note. It's a revival of 1990 hit TV series. Mark, Roseanne is coming back.
Oh, I saw this ad last night, and all it said was we were watching The Middle. I love that show, and it said. Coming new episodes and it was her laugh and I like, oh my God.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but who's in it? Do you know? Please tell me.
Well, I'm reading the story now. It was a groundbreaking series for those that don't know it, that weren't around the 90s, but I'm sure you all were, about a working class Illinois family. It's returning in 2018. Recent rumors about reboot. I'm just reading who's coming back.
Well, it's her and John Goodman, really, I know.
Say.
And what's her name is behind it? Sarah Gilbert's behind it.
Sarah Gilbert's behind it. So Sarah Gilbert is coming back to on air and behind the scenes. John Goodman. I love Becky. She's coming back. DJ the Sun is back.
The first or the second Becky? Do you know they had two Beckys?
Yeah, this is I think the second. Leslie Goranson.
Oh, okay. And then Fishman, the kid, is coming back. But please tell me Laurie Metcalf. Please.
Let me correct it. And Laurie Metcalf.
Oh,
she made the series. She reminds me so much of our friend Laurie, Sal's wife and partner out in L.A. By the way. Yes. But I stand corrected. The Becky that's coming back is the first Becky.
Oh,
the
awesome.
second Becky is coming on in a new role.
Oh, that's really cool. I love that. And. What was I going to say? Oh, but it had to have Laurie because Laurie Metcalf, in case people don't know, and they should.
Oh my gosh, brilliant actress!
She's an amazing fucking actress. She's doing a Doll's House 2 now, and I saw her in another place. She's an amazing actress. So I'm so happy.
And it's going to only be 8 episodes, so I'm sure they've accommodated people's schedules because some of them, Goodman's still pumping out some stuff. Roseanne, not so much. But I think it's interesting that the '90s had such a, sweet kind of, I don't know what's sweet, but whatever reason, these 90 TV series are coming back. Full House, of course, is Fuller House. Now it came back. Will and Grace, of course, is coming back to NBC. A series a little later than the 90s, of course, as many people know. American Idol is coming back with Kelly Clarkson. It looks like is the lead judge.
You could have left that. You totally could have left that out.
I know. Well, it wasn't 90s, so we'll leave it out. But all these 90s shows that have come back, and so those are just some of my comments. There was a quote that I liked.
But wait, let me. I got to throw this in there because I was writing spec scripts back in the 90s, back in LA, and everybody wrote spec scripts for Roseanne. That was the thing you did because it was,
that's interesting.
An extremely popular show. So like everybody was writing Roseanne spec scripts. Go ahead.
It was the series. Yeah, it's interesting. In the 90s, this quote is really cool because it says, and this isn't our final quote, but if you remember the 90s, you weren't there. I just think that quote's funny, but it was an interesting time. Of course, other series that have come back. Twin Peaks is coming back to ABC really? With like 150 person cast or something, like huge cast.
Wow.
Tales of the Crypt coming
back. Who the hell watched it?
I was a Twin Peaks person. Even watched the movies. Right. Tales from the Crypt ran from 89 to 96. HBO's bringing it back. Yes.
Very fun. There's
X-Files, Gilmore Girls, Mark, ran, late. That was the 2000s, but it came back. And then I went in and read, because I thought it'd be funny for our final quote to kind of just talk about some of the phrases that came from shows from the 90s.
Do it.
Like, I'm dying for Seinfeld to come back.
Really?
Yes. I think it'd be fun. But think of some of the quotes from Seinfeld. Hello, Newman. Remember that one?
Yes, and I remember there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, about the gay thing. Serenity Now. That was Frank's line from that series. There were other good ones. Of course, The Simpsons just got a renewal for its 30th season. They renewed it for two more seasons. Yeah, and it started back in those days. They have tons of catchphrases. Don't have a cow, man. Remember that's Bart's big phrase.
And
duh. Excellent by Mr. Burns. Back to Seinfeld, yada, yada, yada. Maybe some great Schwing from Saturday Night Live. Remember? Wayne's World. Schwing. Oh, my God, they killed Kenny from South Park. Eat my shorts from The Simpsons. Some great phrases out of it. Just saying.
A big one a few years from now is going to be Bazinga. From the Big Bang.
Bazinga from the Big Bang. God, people love that series. And then, of course, from the 90s, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Is that your final answer? Kind of made it into the lexicon.
Yeah, it did.
Isn't that special from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Think about all these things
Church
that came out of the 90s. Church Lady.
And now they're all going to be rattling around in my head all day.
They are. Sorry to do that to you. But I'm gonna wrap up the show with our final quote because that's what we do. So anyway, final thoughts are about the 90s. Will these shows make it in a second round or not? It sounds like you're excited about it, Mark. Probably more so than me. But I think it's cool. Have mercy.
Well, Roseanne and Will and Grace. The rest of them, goodbye. But I want to see the Roseanne thing because I liked I thought it was a really good show. And what I never want to see again is Frasier. Please don't ever bring that back. At least not unless you replace Kelsey Grammer.
Well, and I was going to say what you bring up a good point because I was going to say what you probably liked about Roseanne is the cast, stellar actors. Yeah. And when you mentioned Frasier, which Frasier had a stellar cast too. But yeah, I'm just not a Grammer fan either.
Well, he shouts through the whole thing. It's on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and Kelsey Grammer shouts his role from start to finish every goddamn episode. But anyways, go ahead.
All right. Leading to our final quote, because they always refer back to our final comment or something in the show. So this kind of is both. This is a young woman who grew up in the 90s. She was born in 1989. So her first years of her life, her first 10 years of her life were in the 90s. She probably grew up around some of these shows. This is a quote from Miss Teen, South Carolina. If you remember Caitlin Upton. And it ties in with the Miss Teen and Miss USA stuff. Here's the quote, Mark. You'll remember that. When she was asked about education in her country, she was the one that spilled it all out. And they said it's how you're trained in Miss America or Miss USA. You're trained with all these answers. And then when a moment of stress comes, it's a psychology that your mind just spurts out all this shit. Well, here's her quote. I want to end the show with it. I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps. And I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa, and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Do you
remember that?
No, but
do you remember that?
And I don't understand any part of it, but I like it.
I don't think she did either. Caitlin Upton, that's her quote, guys.
And now
South
she
Carolina.
grew up to be Miss USA, who just said that healthcare is a privilege.
Yeah,
It's such a small world.
She's a real estate broker down in Florida or somewhere in Carolina, but yeah, it's a small world, Mark. Anyway.
Everybody, thanks for listening to another twist. We love it when you do, and please spread the word and all that stuff. And we'll be back next week with another twist. America's only clothing optional podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.